Jaffe here, and welcome back to Around the World in Many Days. Today's episode is number 21, and it's titled Sardines and Octopi. We're currently on a break from posting new puzzles. The latest one online is number 23, so we're trying to catch up with the videos, which is now at 21, 2 more videos to go, and we're up to date before episode 24 comes out, which will be on the 3rd of June. So, with that out of the way, let's look at what 21 is then. So we have a grid here with a crossword grid and this stuff that is also in the corner. And we have a message from Gladys. Let's read this. So, dear puzzling, the thick black lines in this grid form a lids puzzle. Share an orthogonally connected area in the grid so that each of the boxes marked with black lines contains 4 shaded cells in the form of either an L, I, T, or S tetromino. No 2x2 square can be fully shaded in the grid, and no 2 tetrominoes of the same type can share an edge. So this is the editable grid here. So each of these areas must have exactly 4 shaded cells, and they must form a tetromino of one of 4 types. So an L would be this, an L shape, an I shape would be this, 4 cells in a straight line. A T would be like this, and an S would be like this. Either way, could be mirrored whichever way. But we can never make 4 shaded cells, a 2x2 area with 4 shaded cells. And then we also have a crossword, cryptic crossword. So, and where are we then? Today I am in a modern riverfront area of an old city. I have visited a huge aquarium, crossed a very impressive bridge, and struggled to finish enormous plates of seafood. Can you guess where I am? Love, Gladys. Okay, so we're going to start with the grid puzzle again. These are independent. You can solve whichever way you want. And obviously, as always, there are solve links for both. But we're going to look at the lids first. So let's actually make that one a little bigger so we can see. Okay, so we start with this one. Even bigger, let's say. Now it's good. So every area in this grid must have 4 shaded cells. Now there's an obvious place to start, which is these areas which only have 4 cells. So they must all be shaded. Very simple. And now anytime we have this 2x2 area that has 3 shaded cells, that must be unshaded. And we can mark those again, as always with this light green. Now in lids you can't put the same type of shape next to the other. So you can't put another L next to this L. And you can't put another I next to this I. So that's going to limit our options, whether we start from here or from here. But let's look at this top first. So we can't, these shaded cells must form a connected area. So this has to connect somehow to the others. Now, it could be via this area here, which is this circular thing, or this area here, which goes around, or it could be this area here. So through here, or through here, or through one of these. Now, if we join through here, that means this area here, which is at the rim of the grid, must have 4 shaded cells in the form of a tetromino. Now, this can only continue in one direction, and that would form an I. Now, that's not allowed, because that would put an I next to an eyepiece next to an eyepiece. So, in fact, we cannot join, we cannot continue from here this way. Now, the other way we can continue, this would be valid, because this is an L shape next to an I shape. That is allowed. And yeah, that would be possible. But the next question from here would be, where do you continue from here? First of all, you would have, and this is wrong, but I'm going to color it anyway as if this was the way we were going. And we have to have an unshaded cell here. Now, where can we go from here? Now, obviously, this is the only area that can connect to any of these. Now, it can't connect through here because then this would be empty and there would be nowhere for this to go. Same story here, here, here. So none of these can be shaded. The only connecting cell would be this, the only possible connecting cell. But if we continue 4 cells from here, we make an eyepiece, and we can't put an eyepiece next to an eyepiece. So in fact, all of that is wrong. If we do this, we are stuck with no way to connect to the rest of the black cells, especially these. So that said, if we go all the way back, this is not possible. That would run into the problem of not being able to connect to the other black cells. So that must be unshaded as well. Now these can't be shaded, these two. If you put a shaded cell here, this must be unshaded and this must be unshaded. And that can't be a tetromino anymore. So that must be unshaded, that must be unshaded. Again, if we put a shaded cell here, impossible to make a tetromino. So that's unshaded. Now we have two options of connecting this cell or this cell. And if we continue from here, we have the same problem as with this cell. So if we continue here, only one way to make a continue 4 cells, which would be in this direction, and that again makes an eyepiece next to another eyepiece. Can't do that, so that must be empty. And now we only have one way of connecting here, and that's this cell here, and continuing 4 cells makes this shape. Now that we have that shape, we can empty out all of the rest of this area because we already have the 4 shaded cells here. And we also know we can't shade this cell because we couldn't continue this way. That would make a 2 by 2 black area. So that's empty. That's empty as well because this would make a 2 by 2 area here. That's empty. And this also. If we shade this, we have to shade this and also 2 by 2 area. So all of these are empty. Now it looks like we must join this through here. But is that the case? This could continue. I mean, this must be white because otherwise we're making a 2 by 2 black area. But can't we continue this way? This would be valid, a valid way of continuing to join all of these. An eyepiece next to an L piece is valid. So do we need to continue here? And the answer is we do. And the reason is these unshaded cells. Anywhere we put 4 shaded cells in this area, it can't connect to any of the others, except through this cell. This is the only cell that's shaded that's touching any of these possible cells. And we have to put 4 shaded cells somewhere in this area, and they must join the others, so the only way to join these others is through here. And the 4 cells would be there. Eyepiece touching an L piece, meaning these all must be empty. And now if we look at this structure, only one way to continue. So this is the only free cell, and only one direction to go from here. 4 cells, and the rest are empty. Okay, then what can we do in this area here? We can't shade this one because then we would have to shade this one as well, and that makes a 2 by 2. So that's not allowed. So that's empty. We must join these somehow. We can't. Same as with these cells, we can't shade this because then these would be empty, and this is there's no way to make a tetromino out of this. So that's empty. Same with this. This would be empty, and that would be left alone. So that must be empty as well. So 2 options now: continuing here or continuing here. If we continue here, there's only four cells here now available. So if we take those 4, that would join all these, but that would put an eyepiece next to an eyepiece. That's not allowed. So none of these can be shaded, which means we join here. These shaded cells must connect to the others. Only way they can do that is through this cell. Only one way to continue from here is 4 cells this way. That's an L piece next to an I piece, which is allowed. And all of these are empty because we already had these 4 shaded cells. Now, again, 2 by 2 can't be fully shaded, so that's empty. And only one way to join the others. So that's this cell here. Must continue this way. And now we have a couple of options of filling this. Now, this shape must join the others. So that's the cell that it must use. And now we have to make a tetramy now in this area. So we have 2 options of filling this. This would be wrong because it would put an L piece next to 2 other L pieces. So that's wrong. This is a T piece next to an L piece and an L piece. That works. And that, as we saw, is the correct solution to the Litz puzzle. And we're going to need this grid when we look at when we have the crossword answer to find the sort of the final answer here. So I'm going to hide this now, and we're going to look at the crossword. So some zooming needed here. Let's see. I think that's good. And we look at the clues here. So one more cryptic crossword. We have a lot of cryptic crosswords coming up, a couple in succession, I think. The next one isn't. 22 isn't, but we have some. For those of you like me who like cryptic crossword, we have cryptic crosswords. We have some coming up, just so you know. So here we are. This is just a straightforward one, so no extra rules or gimmicks or tricks. Just solve cryptic clues and put them in the grid. So let's see. Starting with this 5 across here. A real Canadian province mostly besieges the United States with backing of cannons and long guns. Now that's a pretty long clue. Maybe we should try looking at the shorter ones first. Let's actually come back to the 5 across. So, and this is probably what I would do. By the way, if I was solving this for real, I would probably start with the shorter ones. So let's look at 1 down actually. Scottish couple leaves beautiful chicken for a fox? ? Now couple, Scottish couple. Here is a couple of letters, which is this TT, the 2 letters, 2 of the same letter. It can sometimes be a couple from a word could be the first couple of letters, but here is going to be the couple, the paired letter in the word Scottish. That is removed from a word that means beautiful, and we get an answer meaning chicken for a fox ? Now, what is a chicken for a fox? Potentially, a chicken would be prey for a fox, and that would be the word pretty, which means beautiful, without the TT. So remove the TT from pretty, you get prey, and chicken for a fox is an example of prey. And let's look at, can we look at 7 across? I think we can. We have the Y here. So 7 across is here. Cindy dances with Southern government official. Now, this is an anagram. It's maybe not the most straightforward anagram because the fodder is sort of split. So it's the letters of Cindy dancing. They're moving around, and they're moving around with the 6th letter, which is an abbreviation for Southern. So S from the compass is means Southern. So Cindy S anagrammed to get government official. Now we have the Y in the grid, and it's going to be the word syndic, which means government official. and I haven't spelled it correctly. It's with an S at the beginning. I had two C's there for some reason. Syndic spelled like this, yeah. So it's S at the start and C at the end, yeah. And that is Synds anagrammed. And then let's look at 2 down with this D crossing letter now. Papa's facing large dude playing dirty pool? Question mark. Now this is a pretty similar clue actually to the previous one. Playing, again, an anagram indicated. Some letters are playing there. You play with letters, you move them around. And that would be the letters from the word dude. Obviously, dude can mean other things. Dude could be just the word man or any of the many short synonyms for dude. But here it's the letters of dude. We have one D already there. And that is playing. That is anagrammed with one letter abbreviation for large, which would be L from like clothing sizes. So L dude anagrammed, and that is faced with an abbreviation for Papa. Now Papa is P, and why that's P is from the international radio alphabet. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and P is Papa. So Papa P is at the start, that is facing something, and that something is L dude all anagrammed. So we have to have L somewhere, and then D, U, D, and E, and we get puddle, which might be a dirty pool of water. Let's look at this 3 down then. Structure of the 5-part rondo for a banana plant. And we have a C near the end there. So first of all, there is no music piece called Rondo for a Banana Plant, at least to my knowledge, and I would be really surprised if there were. Would be a pretty weird coincidence. But so this is a double definition, and this is not a unit, so it's not an actual thing that exists. Instead, we have to split this. So this part is one definition: structure of the 5-part rondo. And rondo is a type of musical composition. And the other definition is a banana plant. Now you can look up rondo, what that is. Rondo is basically the composition that has a repeating section, and it's notated A, and then we have sections B and C in the middle. So that would be the 5-part rondo. There are 7-part rondos and things like that as well. But 5 parts would be one section repeating and then 2 different sections at the middle. So ABACA would be the structure of a 5-part rondo. And an abaca is a type of banana, a banana plant. So now we have a lot of crossing letters for this long answer, which is also a long clue. So let's look at that now. A real Canadian province mostly besieges the United States with backing of cannons and long guns. Now maybe first of all, useful to think about where the definition might be. It's always at the start or at the end, or sometimes it's both, like we saw in the previous clue, where there were 2 definitions. But here, if we look at where to spot the definition, well, first of all, a real Canadian province. I mean, that could be a definition. You could, I mean, a Canadian province would be perfectly fine to have as a crossword answer. But why would you have a real there? Like, it's not like Canada has many fake provinces, right? And also A, and then real, it can be abbreviated R. So those are sort of pretty useful components, the single letters for wordplay. So maybe the answer then is at the end, the definition, for example, long guns. No, long guns are cannons. So why is this cannons and long guns? So let's see. AR, as I said, real can be R from mathematics. The real numbers. R is the capital R is the set of real numbers. Then we need the name of a Canadian province. Mostly is an indicator. That means you take most of a word. Very simple. So remove the last letter. And that besieges something. If a word besieges another, it surrounds it. It is around it. And the United States has short abbreviations. It can be US or USA. And here it's going to be US. And this U helps us. It's sorry, actually it doesn't. It's not actually here. Yeah, so it's going to be here. Almost put an S there. Sorry about that. So US is going to be here. And that's going to be besieged by a Canadian province, still to be determined, with backing of cannons. Now, backing is a word that can mean several things, but here it means the backing letter, the end letter of the word cannons. And how you might come to that conclusion, well, if you think the definition is long guns, note that that's guns plural. So backing of cannons, the end letter of cannons would fit very well here. So with backing of cannons, with this S here, so something besieges the US, and whatever is besieging it, whatever is surrounding it, has this AR at the start. A is just this A here, R for this real. And now we have to figure out the name of a Canadian province where you can remove one letter from the end, and that fits here, and that is Quebec. Q, U, E, B, and E, and the C is removed there. So Quebec is most of the word Quebec, Quebec, surrounds this US for the United States. And arquebuses are long guns, not as in cannons, but as in types of rifles, types of long gun in that sense. So that's the answer for 5 across. Maybe not the most straightforward one of these, and that's why we did this first. Let's look at 6 down. This 3-letter clues should be 3-letter answers should be relatively straightforward. So here we have it: told to Zeus, Apollo, and Helios? Question mark. Here we have a single indicator, and that's at the very start. Told. If you're told something that is spoken, so that refers to sound-alike words. So something that sounds like another word but isn't. So what sounds like a word meaning to Zeus, Apollo? Well, to Zeus, Apollo is his son, S-O-N, and Helios is in mythology is the personification of the sun, S-U-N. So if we take a homophone of sun, S-O-N, we get sun, S-U-N, and that is going to be the answer here. And the correct parsing is S-U-N because remember this, if this can't be the definition because it's at the center. The definition has to be in the end or at the beginning. So that's why it can't be the other way around. Now let's look at 8 across when we have this N starting letter already. Part of Napoleonic Empire. Now here we have sort of straightforward indicator, which is part of something, and that is often means a hidden word. So maybe some part of this word means empire, maybe Pole or Leon. Well, it can't be that because it starts with an N, and it can't be Napo. That's not the name of an empire. So what's going on? Actually, this is a hidden word, but this is an AND-lit hidden word. So it starts with this N, N-I-C-E. So these words are both sort of fodder for this hidden word. So we use all of these words for the wordplay. And when we do that, and that's called the AND-lit, we have to use all the words for the definition as well. And is Nice a part of a Napoleonic empire? Well, the city of Nice in France was part of Napoleon's empire, so Nice is one part of Napoleonic empire. So that's how that one works. You have to read the whole thing as definition and whole thing as wordplay. Now let's look at this 4 then. We can get into this corner of the grid then when we get the 4 down. So let's see. She was loved by the son of an Olympian, a famous famous musician and communist revolutionary. How is musician the hardest word to pronounce there? A pretty long clue. So she was. So we're looking for the name of a woman. She was loved by the son of an Olympian. So Olympian has 2 meanings. It can mean an athlete, or it can mean one of the Olympian gods in Greek mythology. So we have Greek mythology here, and we're going to need Greek mythology again here. This is a 6-letter answer, so the definition is here. She was loved by the son of an Olympian. And for that, we need the name of a famous musician, and we need the name of a communist revolutionary. Now, those are both going to be 3 letters. Communist revolutionary, going to be Che Guevara. Note, though, that communist can be read sometimes, RED, and revolutionary can sometimes be an indicator of turning something upside down. So a revolutionary could be an indicator of going backwards or changing some part of the wordplay backwards. But here is just a communist revolutionary is Che, and a famous musician is the rapper Psy, Psy. And that gives us Psyche. And Psyche was a woman in Greek mythology who loved Eros, who was the son of, I'm going to say Aphrodite, one of the Olympian gods anyway. So Psyche is the answer there. Now let's look at, we have the end letter for 9 and we have an E for this 11. Neither are like super helpful letters, but let's do the 9 first. Central part of dictator's army unit. Now dictator, a thing to note about the word dictator, it has a couple of meanings that are both useful for crosswords. Like first of all, dictator as in a ruler of a country. There are many dictators that have really sort of short and useful names, like Ho or Mao or things like that. That's not the case here. The case here, which is the other thing a dictator is useful for, if something is dictated, it's given, it's spoken. So again, referring to a sound-alike word, like the word told in this one. So dictators, if someone dictates the word for army unit, could it sound like a word for central part? No, one word for army unit is corps, C-O-R-P-S, and that sounds like the core, C-O-R-E, which is a central part. And that the latter word fits in the grid. So let's look at, shall we do this 11 as well? Action hero is backing, getting some cattle. So we have backing again. Last time it was the backing letter. Backing of cannons was this S here. Now we have action hero is backing. And here it's, I mean, it could be this, the backing letter of the word is, I suppose, but someone is backing. They were moving in another one direction, and now they're coming in another. So it's a reversal indicator in this case. Now, getting by doesn't mean going past something. It means it is containing inside it one letter abbreviation for by, and that's going to be X from like multiplication. 2 by 2 is 2x2, right? So we have X in the middle, only one place to put it, that's this X here. And now we need a 3-letter action hero written backwards here. It's going to be the hero of the word, the matrix, Neo. And we put that backwards. Around X we get oxen, which means some cattle. Now we have O's for both of these. Let's do 10 first. Make use of PC you built around chip of Celeron. Now, chip of Celeron, that's a real thing. But we're not going to need names of processors here. We're going to need a chip, a little bit of the word Celeron, the C. But again, nothing prevents us from needing a name of a Celeron chip. But here it's just the C. And something is around the C. So the C is going to be somewhere in the middle here. And what's going around it is PC you built. And if you build something from these 5 letters, put C inside it, you should get a word meaning make use of. So if we anagram these letters, we get PC, and then YOU, YOU, put that on C, and we get occupy, make use of something, you occupy something. So that is the answer to that one. And then we have number 11, which also starts with an O. Windows may be broken by villain in Disney film to get little golden statues. Let's see. Now, broken can mean several things. Broken can be a word broken can mean anagrammed, put in a different order. Or something broken by another thing means it's interrupted, so something is in the middle of it. And the latter interpretation is correct here. So Windows maybe, a word for Windows maybe, has inside it a villain in Disney film. We have to know a villain in Disney film to get, so we do the wordplay, to get an answer meaning little golden statues. So that's going to be the correct interpretation there. Note though that golden is very useful as a wordplay. Sort of gold or golden can be OR in the wordplay from heraldry, like or is the golden color, and gold can also be AU, which is also a useful combination of letters. AU from the periodic table. But here the definition is little golden statues. Starts with an O. Can we name a golden statue starting with an O? Well, we probably can. So how does this work? Windows maybe. Now Windows is referring to the operating system Windows, and so Windows is an example of an operating system. Operating system for short is OS. So OS is around something. It is broken by a 4-letter word meaning villain in Disney film. And the film in question is The Lion King, and the villain in that one is Scar. We put Scar inside OS, we get Oscars, and Oscars are little golden statues. Now then, let's look at this short one, 13 across. Maybe the words of a criminal admitting guilt stopped halfway to show religious imagery. Now, this is maybe a bit unusual type of wordplay, but I don't think it's too difficult. So something stopped halfway means we take the first half of a phrase, which would then be an 8-letter phrase. We take the first 4 letters, and that is to show an answer meaning religious imagery. Now, if you think of a word, 4 letters with a C, second letter C for religious imagery, you might come up with the word icon. And now, how do we justify this as the wordplay? We would need to find an 8-letter phrase, which would be maybe the words of a criminal admitting guilt. And then we would just take the first half of it. And that would be I confess. If you say I confess, that's probably, that might be the words of a criminal admitting guilt. So remove the latter half of that phrase and you get icon. So now let's do this 14 down. Zip file unpacked after end of transmission. That's going to be pretty simple, especially with the N already there. End of transmission is going to be the end letter, the final letter of the word transmission. Now something is after that, and what is after that is file unpacked. If we unpack or unwrap or like remove the covers from the word file, remove the packing, sort of the first and last letter of it, so the surrounding letters, taking just the contents of that word, we get IL. And we put that after N, we get nil. And nil means 0, which means zip. Zip is one term for 0. So nothing to do with file packaging, in fact, but zip as in 0. Now, should we look at the long one now? Let's look at this long one. It starts with a P and we have an L and an R already in the grid. So 17 across is here. One of the pythons appearing near a city in Italy stole diamonds and race car ? Now, which way is the definition going to go? So is it going to be at the start or at the end? One of the pythons. Now, this refers to Monty Python, but obviously you have to be aware that it might be the name of a snake, a python, one of the pythons, even though it's spelled with a capital letter. It could be that. It could be just misdirection. But here it actually means one of the comedy group Monty Python. And you just have to know one of their names to solve this. That is appearing near, that is next to a city in Italy. So we're going to need the name of a city in Italy, but don't worry, you'll probably know it. And then that has inside it diamonds. Now in playing cards, these suits have one-letter abbreviations. So diamonds is D, spades is S, and clubs is C, and hearts is H. So diamonds, D is going to be somewhere here inside it. So we have one of the pythons. Well, we have P at the start. So if you know who the names of the pythons, that's going to be Michael. Now I'm going to mispronounce the name again. Is it Palin or Palin? I'm going to say neither. This, whatever is written here is his name. And I mean, I've been mispronouncing so many names in these videos, but I mean, you guys are watching someone who pronounces J-A-F-E as Jaffe. I mean, you guys knew what you were getting into. Let's say it's Palin, Michael Palin. So that's one of the Monty Python actors, and that is near a city in Italy, which is Rome. And that has stolen a D. for diamonds, and we get palindrome. And the definition then is race car question mark. So race car is an example of a palindrome. It's a word that reads the same backwards as forwards. So should we look at this shorter one first, 16 down? Bob and Mike hugged by immature setter. So what's going on here? Mike, again, we talked about the international radio alphabet. We had a letter from there. What was it? It was Papa for P, and Mike is the letter M in that same alphabet. So M is hugged by, it is surrounded by, and we have the M already in the grid. Immature setter, question mark. Setter, now careful with the word setter, because it can mean the setter of the puzzle. So it could be Jaffe, it could be Gladys in this one, because Gladys is the protagonist, like telling the story. It could be I or me, but a setter has other meanings than a crossword setter, and a setter is a type of dog. And if you have an immature setter, that would be a puppy or a pup. And if you would pup around M, you get pump. And if you bob something, you pump it, you move it back and forth. So bob, not as the name, but as a verb here. Now then, we can do 15 across. Avoid peace being disturbed with addition of soldiers at the front. So something being disturbed, you disturb letters, you anagram them, you move them around, and peace is 5 letters. So anagram peace, and you need to add with addition of soldiers at the front. Now this has nothing to do with front in a war. Soldiers at the front means the front letter of the word soldier, so just the S here. So put an S inside peace, inside an anagram of the word peace, and you get a word meaning avoid, and that is the word escape. So the S is here, and these letters spell out peace. And now we have one more answer to fill in. So here we go. Love interest of Leonard Nimoy on vacation provides backing for female trumpeter? Question mark. And we have a third example of backing here. So backing here was the backing letter, the end letter or canons, and backing in the other one was backwards. And the word backing has a third purpose for wordplay. So provides backing for means supports something. You provide backing for something, you support something from below. So that means something is below a word for female trumpeter. Now female can be the letter F, it's an abbreviation for female. It can also be, there are short words for female like her or she or something like that. But here, a female trumpeter is actually a unit. And it's not a musician, it's an animal. A trumpeter is a type of swan. And a female swan, the term for a female swan is pen. A pen is a female swan. So pen is being supported, being backed by something. Now Leonard Nimoy is an actual person, an actor from Star Trek, but that has nothing to do with how to solve this, because there's a break here, and this is a unit, Nimoy on vacation. Now, what on earth could be Nimoy on vacation? And I guess we have had this indicator before. So you vacate the word Nimoy, you remove the contents of it, of the word, and just leave the first and last letter. So Nimoy on vacation would be NY. NY supporting a pen would be penny, and that would be then love interest of Leonard, and Leonard then being not Leonard Nimoy, but Leonard from The Big Bang Theory, the TV series. So uh, that is our finished grid here, and now we can look at what we shaded in the previous one. Now that I just have to find the grid here, and let's see. So these were the shaded cells in the lids, and we're gonna have to shade the same ones in this crossword grid and see what we get. I'm going to use, is it blue this time? I think blue works. So we have 3 empties here and then 4. So these 4 would be the shaded ones. Then we have three cells here. That's these 3 here. Then we have 2 opposed and then 4. So that's these. Then we have these 3. And then we have an L here, L shape, a T shape next to it. It's going to be this T here, and then we have an L this way, so that way. And now if we read the highlighted letters, that's PARQUE, so that's park, DAS, NACOES. Parki das Nações. So that is going to be our final answer here. And remember, we were in a modern riverfront area of an old city. So let's look up what the Parque das Nações is. Where are we? Here we are. So Parque das Nações in Lisbon is the riverfront area of the city of Lisbon. And so that is where Gladys is currently. And we can see that at the map as well. Now where am I? Here it is. So we were in Luxembourg last time, Mullertal, and now we are in Lisbon. If my map loads, yeah, there it is. We are in Lisbon, and that's the entire trip so far. So we were all the way there in Europe, and now we've come to the edge of Europe this way. Where will she go next? We're gonna have to see the next episode to find out. So that's the end of episode 21. I hope that made sense. And so episode 22, let's just check what that's going to be called. So that's not going to be a cryptic crossword. So we're going to have another type of crossword. That's sort of a 3-to-1 crossword. So three options for each answer, and you have to pick the correct one. And it's also going to be a Yagilin puzzle, sort of loop drawing puzzle. And it's going to be titled In It for the Long Haul. So I will see you in episode 21. And for this one, thanks for watching.